Dear friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, in today's lecture, we are going to learn the content from the chapter halogen derivative. Now, here we are going to learn the Woods reaction, or it is also known as an Woods coupling reaction. Now, in this topic, we are going to learn the definition, example, mechanism, importance, and the limitations of Woods coupling reaction. In the previous lecture, we have learned about the formation of the Grignard reagent. So we know that there we have used the magnesium metal for the formation of your Grignard reagent 1. Here in the Woods coupling reaction, we are going to use the active sodium metal for the formation of your alkane. Now, what is Woods coupling reaction? First of all, now we know that when the alkyl halide reacted with the sodium metal in presence of dry ether as a solvent, it gives the higher alkanes. Now, in that higher alkanes, there is a double number of carbon atoms than your alkyl halide. Now, that reaction is actually known as an Woods reactions or the Woods coupling reactions 1. Now, what happens exactly in this reaction? The alkyl group from this alkyl halide get joined with each other, they couple with each other and they give the higher alkanes 1. For example, if I have considered the general reactions regarding this one, you can observe that this is your alkyl halide compound. Okay, this is the one molecule of your alkyl halide and this is the second molecule of your alkyl halide 1. They treated with your sodium metal in presence of dry ether as a solvent. Then the halogen atoms, they are actually removed from this alkyl halides 1 and there is a coupling between these two alkyl group takes place. Just keep this thing in your mind. Okay, so they will couple, they will join with each other and they will produce the higher alkanes 1, plus we will get the 2NaX, that is 2 molecules of sodium plus this halogen atom and this halogen atom 1. If we considered the example regarding this one, remember when your methyl bromide treated with your sodium metal in dry ether as a solvent, it gives the ethane 1. So I have written this reaction here. You can observe that methyl bromide treated with the sodium metal. Okay, again the second molecule of your methyl bromide, simply I have written it as an BrCH3 for our convenience. So here the 2 bromine will react with the 2 sodium metal atom. Okay, and these 2 methyl group will join with each other or they will couple with each other and leads to the formation of your ethane 1, plus you will get the byproduct as an sodium bromide. So here remember in the methyl bromide the number of carbon atom is only 1. Okay, but if we observe in the product, especially in the ethane, okay, the number of carbon atom is equals to 2. So here we have already considered this point. Remember, higher alkanes contain the double number of your carbon atom than your alkyl halides 1. In the alkyl halide there is only 1 carbon atom, but in your product you will get the 2 number of carbon atoms 1. So obviously by combining the 2 alkyl group we get the higher alkanes 1. Now let us consider again another simple example, ethyl iodide. Okay, ethyl iodide molecules when treated with your sodium metal in presence of dry ether as a solvent, it gives butane as a product 1. Now here again remember I have written this ethyl bromide. So this ethyl bromide again reacted with your sodium metal atom. Then there is a removal of this 2 sodium plus 2 bromine and it will give the byproduct as an sodium bromide, and these 2 ethyl group will couple with each other or they will join with each other and gives the product as an butane. So again you can observe that in the ethyl bromide there is only 2 carbon atom. Now these 2 ethyl group will combine with each other and gives the butane. So here you can observe that the number of carbon atom in your ethyl bromide is 2, while in product there is a 4 number of carbon atoms you can observe here 1. Okay, carbon atom number 1st, 2nd, 3rd and 4th. So we are getting the double number of carbon atoms in the product. Again just imagine that instead of taking the same alkyl halides, okay, if I take the mixture of alkyl halide, then what happens? Okay, so when the mixture of your different alkyl halides are used, then all possible products, all three possible products are actually formed here one. Now let us take the example of your methyl bromide. This is your methyl bromide. Okay, and this methyl bromide when treated with your ethyl bromide. Okay, so here I am using the two different alkyl halide compounds one, and when they treated with the sodium metal in presence of dry ether as a solvent, they gives the mixture of product one. Now which product we obtain here? Actually we obtain ethane, propane and the butane one. Now how these products are formed actually? We know that we have taken the two different alkyl halides treated with the sodium metal. So the first product we obtain is the ethane. Now how ethane is obtained? Now here remember, the one molecule of your methyl bromide will react with the another molecule of your methyl bromide. Okay, that means obviously in presence of dry ether as a solvent, then the coupling between the two methyl group takes place and we will obtain the first product as an ethane here one. This is the straight reaction. Same molecules react with each other and gives the coupling product. Okay. Now for the second product, we know that this methyl bromide will react with the another molecule of your ethyl bromide, that is C2H5. Okay, I will write in short, in presence of dry ether as a solvent. Then here again the two bromine will be exchanged with your sodium metal and we will get the propane as a product. So we obtain the second product. This is actually the cross coupling reaction. This is the simple reaction one between the molecules. So by the cross coupling reactions we are getting this product one. That means methyl bromide react with the molecule of methyl bromide, then methyl bromide react with the molecule of your ethyl bromide. Now the last product, that butane, how we can obtain this butane one? Remember here the one molecule of your ethyl bromide will react with the another molecule of your ethyl bromide, okay, in presence of dry ether as a solvent. Then again obviously we will obtain the butane as a product one, CH3 CH2 CH3. So here one molecule of your ethyl bromide will react with the another molecule of ethyl bromide and give the product butane. So by taking the different alkyl halides or the mixture of alkyl halides, we will get all possible products here one. Okay, so this is about the Wurtz coupling reaction. Let us consider the mechanism for this Wurtz coupling reaction one. It is very important one. Remember, we already studied about the Wurtz coupling reaction. We know that the two molecules of alkyl halide when treated with the sodium metal in presence of dry ether, it gives the higher alkanes one. So how that exact reaction mechanism takes place one? We know that mechanism is the detailed step-by-step description that how reactant is converted into the product in all possible detail one. Let's consider the mechanism of this reaction. Remember, generally this reaction mechanism takes place via free radical mechanism. This reaction is generally carried out using the vapor phase one, so that the electrons can be easily separated and the free radicals can be easily formed one. Now what is the first step during the formation of this alkane one? Now the first step is the formation of alkyl radical one. Now what happens? Your sodium metal, it is the electropositive element, it have a tendency to donate the electron. Hence this sodium metal donate its one electron to your halogen of your alkyl halide. Now this Rx bond, which is already the polar one, okay, it again undergoes the homolytic fission. That's it. Okay, and this leads to the formation of your alkyl radical one. So one electron is taken by your halogen atom and one electron by your alkyl group 1. So this leads to the formation of your free radical, that is your alkyl free radical. Now as this sodium loses its one electron, it will convert into the Na plus ion. Okay, and the one electron from this bond and one electron which is donated by the sodium, hence your halide group will convert into the halide ion one. And now this Na plus and this halide ion will combine to give the NaX as a byproduct, or the sodium halide as a byproduct one. So this happens in the step first. Simply sodium loses its one electron to the halogen, then Rx bond undergoes homolytic fission and alkyl radical formation takes place. Now in the second step, these alkyl free radical convert into the alkyl anion, which is generally known as carbonium ion one. Now here, remember here, this is your second atom of the sodium one. Okay, now again this second atom of the sodium lose its one electron to the alkyl free radical, and now as already the alkyl radical have a one electron, now he will obtain the second electron, and now your radical convert into the ion. Okay, so this is your alkyl radical which is convert into the alkyl anion, which is actually known as a carbonium ion one, plus again you will obtain the sodium ion one. So this happens in your step number second, alkyl free radical convert into your alkyl anion one. Now what happens in the third step? Now these alkyl anion attack on the second molecule of your alkyl halide. So this is your alkyl halide. Okay, you know that already the bond between your alkyl group and your halogen, that means what? The bond between the carbon of your alkyl group and the halogen is a polar bond due to the electronegativity difference between the two bonded atoms one. Okay, we know that the electronegativity of halogen atom is more, hence the electron density or this bonding pair will shift to more towards the halogen atoms one. Okay, that's why this alkyl group have the positive charge. Now your alkyl anion or your carbonium ion will give its electron, or it will donate its electron to the alkyl group of your second alkyl halide, and this halogen will be displaced from this molecule as an X minus ion one. So here the heterolytic fission takes place. Due to that heterolytic fission, remember this both bonding electron is taken by your halogen and it will convert into the X minus ion. That's it. It convert into the X minus ion, and as there is a bond formation takes place between these two alkyl group, leads to the formation of your product, that is nothing but the alkane one. So we are obtaining the alkane compound one. Okay, now the last step, the formation of the byproduct. So lastly, the sodium ion and the halide ion combines to give the second molecule of your sodium halide one, and this is the simple reaction mechanism for your Wurtz coupling reaction one. Remember this one. So what happens during this reaction? Formation of alkyl free radical takes place. Now that alkyl free radicals convert into the alkyl anion, that is nothing but your carbonium ion, and that carbonium ion attack on the second molecule of your alkyl halide, leads to the formation of your final product one. So this is about the mechanism of your Wurtz coupling reaction. It is very simple. Okay, now let us consider the importance of your Wurtz coupling reaction one. Why we are studying this reaction? Remember, we can obtain the higher alkanes by using your lower alkyl halide by this coupling reaction one. So this is the importance of your Wurtz coupling reaction. Remember this thing in your mind. Now lastly, we will consider the limitations of your Wurtz reaction one. Remember, though Wurtz reaction is very useful for the formation of your alkyl halides, there are the few limitations of this reaction also. Now which are that limitations? So the first limitation is that we cannot prepare the methane by using your Wurtz coupling reaction one. You know that at least 2 carbon atoms are required for the coupling reaction one, hence methane cannot be prepared. Okay, that was the first limitation. Second limitations, we know that when we use the different alkyl halides for this reaction one, then we get all the possible products one. Possible product. Now remember, these products are very difficult to separate one, as they are having a different boiling point and the melting point one, hence they cannot be easily separated. Now the third limitations, if we consider, now in this reaction there is a one side chain reaction one. Now there is a one side chain reaction and this leads to the formation of your alkene also. That means we are not getting alkanes here, but we can get the alkenes also. Now how it is takes place? Remember, this is your alkyl anion. If this alkyl anion abstract this proton by donating its lone pair of electron, okay, to this proton one, now this bond can be shifted here and this bromine can leave from this molecule one. So this particular molecule will convert into the alkenes, that is RCH, single bond convert into the double bond, and this is your CH2 group one. Okay, so this is the side product, a side chain product. This is your simple alkane also, that is RCH2. Now CH2 group by abstracting this proton convert into the CH3 one. So there is a side chain reaction also in your Wurtz coupling reactions, it may happens. So this is the third limitations of your Wurtz coupling reaction, and the last limitation is the tertiary alkyl halide generally do not shows this Wurtz coupling reaction one. Now why it does not shows the Wurtz coupling reaction? Remember, the reason is your side chain reaction for this one also. For example, if I have taken this is your tertiary alkyl halide compound one. Okay, so sorry, this is your tertiary alkyl halide compound. Here what happens? Again, this proton, one of the proton from this molecule can be abstracted and hence it can use the alkene compounds one. Now that is CH3, then CH, double bond CH2, CH3. Hence generally your tertiary alkyl halide does not shows the Wurtz coupling reaction one. So this is the limitations of your Wurtz coupling reaction one. So here in this lecture we have studied about the Wurtz coupling reaction. We know that when the two molecules of your alkyl halide react with the sodium metal in presence of dry ether gives the higher alkanes. Now that reaction is known as an Wurtz coupling reaction one. Okay, now then we have considered the example regarding that one, how we can form the higher alkanes. Then we have studied about the reaction mechanism. There you have studied that the first of all there is formation of alkyl radical takes place. That alkyl radical convert into the alkyl anion and that alkyl anion gives the final product one. Then we have considered the importance of this reaction also. There we have studied that generally the higher alkanes can be prepared by using your Wurtz coupling reaction one. And lastly we have considered all these four limitations regarding the Wurtz coupling reaction one. Out of that, the first one is methane cannot be prepared. The second one is the mixture of product that we obtain after using the different alkyl halides, it is very difficult to separate one. Then third one is there is a side chain reactions and your tertiary alkyl halides cannot be prepared by your Wurtz coupling reaction one. So this is whole about your Wurtz coupling reaction one. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you in my next video.